Welcome Gemini to your in-depth monthly horoscope for December 2023 for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you some standout pointers to look out for, but please stay with me. I will explore in much greater detail all the key influences particularly relevant to your sign. Now, as you come into the month, your ruler Mercury is in its pre-retrograde shadow, but it is just on the first day in your sector of relating along with the Sun and Mars, which are very closely together. So you could find yourself feeling quite feisty at the start of this month, but Mercury then moves later on the 1st, dives deep into the sign of Capricorn. But it goes retrograde on the 13th, but inverses back into your sector of relating on the 23rd. This suggests that when it comes to any kind of involvement where there is more investment in it, whether it is in a business partnership or with a co-worker or a line manager where you're having to work very closely together, or in a personal or romantic context, there could be some rethinking that's going to go on for sure. But also Christmas Day, the moon is in your sign, so I can't wait to share that with you. And also there is a sparkling new moon on the 12th, so please stay with me, lots to share for you yet. Now, if you've yet to order your personal horoscope for year 2024, if you do so now, you can still get the rest of this year free. But also my special package, you'll get your character analysis report, your life roadmap, and 30% off, but also your year 2024 zodiac forecast for each of the 12 signs, but also Indian forecast for each of the 12 signs, and Chinese forecast for each of the 12 animal signs, totally free of charge, those booklets. Please see the link below for more. So Gemini, as you make your way into December, as I mentioned, the Sun and Mars are so close together, only 4 degrees apart. Now, Mars in the sign of Sagittarius is actually very sporty, but the 7th house is where we relate. It's the descendant as far as your Sun is concerned. Now, the two of them together can just make you a little bit more robust around your boundaries, which is a good thing. But Mercury going into the sign of Capricorn later on the first day also gives you an added dimension in terms of understanding the dialogue that's going to and forth in a relationship. Also on the 4th, Venus, the planet of relating, moves out of the gorgeous 5th house for you. It's been very sociable, very glamorous and fun, into the more practical 6th house. If you are thinking about having guests for Christmas and you need to do some planning, you're going to align your affections but also your energies in trying to find the ways to make that stay comfortable or that connection as good as possible. Now on the 6th, Neptune, the planet of dreams, but also spirituality, but also of distortion potentially, which has been retracing its steps since the end of June in the part of your situation to do with your worldly interactions, may have been causing a degree of confusion around work, or with Saturn there as well, also going through its retrograde. Perhaps professional issues have been quite heavy and weighty. And certainly when the planets went through the sign of Virgo, you may have felt that balancing all the different elements of your life was proving very challenging. So Neptune going direct is welcome, but it does still square up to the Sun and Mars on the back of the new moon, which occurs on the 12th. But the influence of Neptune goes on through till the 19th. It's exact with the Sun in a square on the 17th. So any kind of relationship where you're discussing things, particularly at work, however much you try to lean into the other person's needs, they may keep shifting their position, which could prove to be very, very frustrating. However, Mercury going retrograde on the 13th can also have implications as far as shared finances. If you're trying to transact some kind of business proposition, perhaps even a property sale, Mercury in retrograde in the 8th house can be challenging. But from the 18th to the 23rd, Venus is in an opposition with Uranus. This is a very electric energy. Because they go across your 12th, Uranus, and 6th houses, Venus, is there somebody at work that's going to surprise you with their attraction to you? Also, it's possible in an existing relationship that some kind of niggle that's been a bit hidden could suddenly come into the open. I suppose the great thing about having an opposition between Venus and Uranus across the 6th and 12th houses, that if something has been out of kilter and you feel you're doing all the giving and the other person isn't doing much giving themselves, at least if you ventilate it, it's in the open and there's an opportunity to solve. 22nd is the winter solstice. The sun returns to Capricorn. Very important in Western tropical astrology. This brings in the 4th and final cardinal quadrant, taking us right through to the spring equinox. It's the last quarter of the year, therefore. And for you, it sees the sun return to Capricorn, joining up at this stage with both Mercury and Pluto, and asking you to really look very, very deeply into the transitions that are going on in your life. The 23rd, however, sees Mercury go back into your sector of relating. The 25th, Christmas Day, I hope you have a great day. If you are on your own, I will be thinking of you. And there is actually a link between the moon in Gemini and Neptune, so there is a bit of a square going on there. So the moon in your sign can make you a little bit more assertive, especially if you feel that something keeps shifting and you can't quite know where you stand. That could be a little bit frustrating. Also, in the last week, Neptune's in a square with your ruler and Mars. Mercury now back into the sign of Sagittarius, so that 7th, 10th house energy could prove tricky. Is there somebody in your world who tends to be very judgmental about what you do? They may show themselves. Or is it you who tends to be the judge? Are you letting past conditioning or more conservative values influence how your relationships run, for example? There could be something you do need to grapple with. We do have the full moon on the 27th, however, and it is in its home sign of Cancer. And it's also tuning into a terrific angle between Saturn and Jupiter, which provides a backdrop for the last 2 weeks of this year. I think this is saying to you, whatever you've been doing behind the scenes, the research, grafting away with not necessarily getting rewards, what you can benefit from in the first 3 months of 2024 is that patient persistence of Saturn linked with the more optimistic energies of Jupiter. But because Jupiter is embracing its more Piscean energy for you, being in your 12th house, you kind of got to go with it, listen to your instincts, particularly around your professional hopes. Now, Venus moves into your sector of relating on the 29th. This could be very exciting if you are attending some kind of New Year's Eve party, and also with the sun aligning in a fantastic way with Jupiter from the 25th to the 28th, and then Jupiter going direct on the last day of the year. All the kind of stuff that you've encountered this year, which I think in some ways has been led by Uranus, that kind of hard to understand, sort of restless energy, feeling a bit exhausted at times, any responsibilities, obligations and leadership demands that you have, although you may have been up for them, they still may have taken quite a lot out of you. But as you come to the end of this year, with Venus being in your opposite sign, it suggests that there could be a conversation or a connection which maybe clarifies some of that confusion which Neptune has created this month. Neptune in the 10th house, what are you basing your worldly objectives upon? Are they realistic? Are they achievable? If you're a healer, or if you're someone who works in light work, or you're someone very much involved in the professional side of medical care, Neptune in the 10th house takes a lot. So it's important that you're setting your boundaries with the 7th house energy that comes through the sign of Sagittarius. And then when everything moves into the 8th house, what you're looking is for a deeper, more spiritual enrichment from what you're doing. And that's really what brings the curtain down on this year, making sure the in and out, both in terms of your energy and effort, but also financially with that full moon, balancing the books as the year comes to a close. But Jupiter can still bring you some kind of unexpected dividend along with Venus, and it could be at a more personal level as this year comes to a close. I'd like to wish you a very happy Christmas and all the best for 2024. If you've yet to like, comment or share or subscribe, I'd be most grateful if you did so now.